have you ever experienced a coincidence so perfectly timed, so utterly improbable, it sent a shiver down your spine? A moment where reality itself seemed to be winking at you. We often dismiss these as mere chance, quirks of probability. But what if I told you that history is littered with coincidences so bizarre, so unbelievable, they challenge our understanding of mere chance? Events where the lives of different people, separated by decades or even centuries, mirror each other in eerie detail, or where unrelated events align in ways that seem almost scripted. Today on RookiFactFinder, we're diving deep into some of history's most mind-bending and thoroughly documented coincidences. These are true stories that will make you question whether the universe is playing by a set of rules we haven't quite figured out. Get ready to have your perception of probability shattered. Our first stop is Monza, Italy. On the evening of July 28, 1900, King Umberto I, the reigning monarch of Italy, decided to dine at a small local restaurant. He probably expected a quiet meal. But when the restaurant owner personally came to take the king's order, an uncanny situation unfolded. The king and the restaurateur, also named Umberto, looked at each other and were stunned. They were virtual doppelgangers, almost identical in face and build. As they began to talk, the coincidences piled up, one after another, each more astounding than the last. Both men were named Umberto. Both were born on the same day, March 14, 1844. Both were born in the same town, though this is sometimes debated. Many accounts say Turin. Both men had married a woman named Margherita. The restaurateur had opened his restaurant on the same day King Umberto I was coronated King of Italy. The king was reportedly delighted and fascinated by this string of synchronicities. He invited his double to attend an athletic event with him the following day. But fate, it seems, had other plans, binding their destinies even further. The next day, July 29, 1900, tragedy struck. The restaurateur, Umberto, was shot and killed in a mysterious accident that morning. Later that same evening, as King Umberto I was parading in his carriage at the athletic event he'd invited his double to, he was assassinated by an anarchist. Two men, not related by blood, living lives that mirrored each other in astonishing detail, only to meet the same violent end on the very same day. Coincidence? Or something far stranger? Let's move on to the next one. 14 years before the unsinkable RMS Titanic met its tragic end in the icy waters of the North Atlantic, a novelist named Morgan Robertson penned a work of fiction. In 1898, he published a novella titled Futility, later retitled Futility or The Wreck of the Titan. The parallels between Robertson's fictional ship, the Titan, and the real-life Titanic are nothing short of chilling. Titan versus Titanic. Eerily similar. Both were described as the largest ships of their time, around 800 feet long. Titanic was 882 feet, and both were capable of speeds over 20 knots. Robertson's Titan was 70,000 tons displacement. Titanic was 66,000 tons. Both ships were lauded as virtually unsinkable marvels of technology. Both ships struck an iceberg on a cold April night in the North Atlantic. Both ships were hit on their starboard side. Crucially, both ships had a catastrophic shortage of lifeboats for the number of passengers on board. Robertson's Titan had as few as the law allowed, just like the Titanic. The Titan had 24 lifeboats, the Titanic 20. The similarities don't end there. Both ships were carrying wealthy and influential passengers. The Titan sank before reaching its destination, the Titanic on its maiden voyage. The number of passengers who perished was also strikingly similar in proportion to those on board. After the Titanic disaster in 1912, Robertson's forgotten book was rediscovered, and many accused him of being a clairvoyant. Robertson himself denied any supernatural abilities, claiming he was just a knowledgeable writer, well-versed in maritime trends and shipbuilding. But the sheer density of specific, accurate predictions is astounding. Was it just expert foresight, or did Robertson tap into something inexplicable? Let's move to number 3. Mark Twain, the celebrated American author Samuel Clemens, was known for his wit and sharp observations on life. But his own life and death were linked by an astronomical event in a way that seems plucked from one of his own fantastical tales, Halley's Comet. Twain was born on November 30th, 1835, just 2 weeks after Halley's Comet made its spectacular appearance in the skies. This famous comet, visible from Earth roughly every 75 to 76 years, became a defining celestial marker for his existence. Twain himself was acutely aware of this cosmic connection. In 1909, knowing the comet was due to return the following year, he famously said, "I came in with Halley's Comet in 1835. It is coming again next year, and I expect to go out with it. It will be the greatest disappointment of my life if I don't go out with Halley's Comet. The Almighty has said, no doubt. Now here are these two unaccountable freaks. They came in together. They must go out together." And true to his prediction, or perhaps his deeply held expectation, Mark Twain died on April 21st, 1910. Halley's Comet had made its closest approach to Earth just the day before, on April 20th, 1910. A life bookended by one of the universe's most famous celestial travelers. A profound statement by the man himself, fulfilled with uncanny precision. Was it self-fulfilling prophecy, a deep psychological connection, or simply one of history's most poetic coincidences? Our next story takes us to rural Texas, and it involves a man named Henry Ziegland. This tale, though sometimes debated in its finer details and occasionally embellished, highlights how actions can have consequences that ripple through time in the most unexpected ways. The story goes that in the late 1800s or early 1900s, Henry Ziegland broke off a relationship with his girlfriend. Tragically, the young woman was so distraught that she took her own life. Her heartbroken and vengeful brother was determined to make Ziegland pay. The brother hunted Ziegland down, found him on his property, and shot at him. Ziegland fell to the ground, and the brother, believing he had avenged his sister, then turned the gun on himself, ending his own life. But Ziegland wasn't dead. The bullet had only grazed his face and then lodged itself firmly into a nearby tree. Ziegland, perhaps considering himself lucky, moved on with his life. Years passed. Some versions of the story say it was 20 years later, around 1913. Ziegland decided to clear some land on his property, and this included removing the very tree that held the bullet meant for him years ago. The tree was proving difficult to uproot, so Ziegland decided on a more drastic measure: dynamite. He drilled holes into the tree, planted sticks of dynamite, and lit the fuse. The resulting explosion was powerful, sending splinters of wood flying in all directions. And here's where the story takes its unbelievable turn. The force of the explosion dislodged the old bullet from the tree trunk and sent it flying through the air. That very same bullet, fired years earlier by the avenging brother, struck Henry Ziegland in the head, killing him instantly. A bullet that found its intended target, but only after a delay of 2 decades and through the victim's own actions. A chilling example of fate, or a 1 in a billion chance event. The tales of King Umberto's Double, the prophetic novel of the Titan, Mark Twain's cosmic farewell, and Henry Ziegland's fateful bullet. These are just a few of the countless strange coincidences that pepper the annals of history. So what are we to make of them? Are they simply statistical inevitabilities in a world of billions of people and countless events? The human brain is wired to find patterns after all. Or is there something more at play? A hidden order, a subtle interconnectedness that we only glimpse in these extraordinary moments. Science and skepticism rightly urge us to look for logical explanations, to understand the laws of probability. But even then, some coincidences remain so specific, so layered with detail, that they continue to inspire awe and wonder. What do you think? Have you ever encountered an unbelievable coincidence in your own life? Or heard of one that rivals these? Share your thoughts and stories in the comments below. We'd love to hear them. If you found these stories as mind-blowing as I did, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to RookiFactFinder for more explorations into the fascinating and the unexplained, and ring that notification bell so you don't miss our next dive into the unknown. Thanks for watching, and until next time, keep questioning.